There's nothing more exciting than watching a movie that's been on your backlog for a long time and then finding out that the movie was actually enjoyable, and you end up kicking yourself thinking, why didn't I watch this earlier? And I think that's exactly what we've got with this film in this review, Abnormal Beauty, a Hong Kong film from 2004. It's usually the Hong Kong films that tend to be these really good hidden gems. Hello everyone, I am the Artie Dans and welcome to SHOCKMANIA, and welcome to what I would consider my second hidden gem that I've found while running this channel here on YouTube. The first one was again a Hong Kong movie called Rule Number 1. This one is now this interesting horror film from Oxide. So let's check out what it's about. Ginny is an art student with a passion for photography. Bored with her current work, she discovers an interest in photographing death after she witnesses a fatal car accident. She slowly gets consumed into the world of death as her work gets more and more extreme. Fearing for her mental health, her partner Jasmine helps her to recover and get her life back on track. But a mysterious set of photographs and a snuff video is delivered to Ginny's door, drawing her back into that dark, sinister world. Hopefully, everyone knows who the Pang brothers are. Now, they are responsible for some excellent Hong Kong horror films, specifically, the I trilogy. But both of them seem to have gone on their separate ways. Well, Danny Pang has done a lot of mainland horror films, and to be quite honest, a lot of them have been real rubbish. The only one I can really recommend out of all of his mainland horror films is The Strange House. That was actually quite interesting. But on the other hand, the other brother, Oxide, and I'm really not sure how to say his name because it's spelt Oxide, so I'm just going to pronounce it Oxide, but if you know how to pronounce it better, I'd definitely like to know. He is the guy who is more famous for directing Nicolas Cage in their remake of Bangkok Dangerous, and he seems to have a passion for action films, and in fact his last couple of films again have been mainland Chinese and they have been action films. But this film that we're looking at here, Abnormal Beauty, was his first solo horror movie that he directed. With a bit of trivia there for you, that he directed a segment solo in a Thai horror anthology called Bangkok Haunted a few years before, but this is his first full-length horror feature. Made in 2004, I feel this movie has aged remarkably well, considering some of the things present in the film, such as 35mm cameras, darkroom development, flip mobile phones, and VHS tapes. I really miss the analog days, I think you can tell that. Now, one of the things you might notice about this film, if you were to look at the online listings of it, is that it has a relatively small cast. It's such a strength of this film that essentially 3 characters can keep the whole movie together. And interestingly, the 2 female lead characters are Race and Roseanne Wong, who in real life are sisters and pop stars. Thus, it's a little bit interesting to see them cast as what appears to be lesbian lovers. The movie doesn't explicitly call it out, but it's kind of obvious. On the surface, this movie might appear to be just a standard Hong Kong Category 3 horror flick. A depressed person looking for a way out. But that's actually not what we get here, because Ginny, she's a little bit more of a complex character than that. She's suffering from a long-term sexual abuse trauma caused by her cousins when she was just a little girl. This has clouded her opinion of men and her mother, who didn't believe her. She has this hidden desire for revenge. She wants to take a life, and as you find out in the movie, she kind of already has, but she's only really brave enough to want to sacrifice herself. She's easily saved by Jasmine, perhaps a little bit too easily, some might say. And this is where the final third of the movie completely kicks the film into overdrive, smashing everything you've seen before it. It's worth mentioning that at the time that this film was released back in 2004, what we would now consider the pioneers of the torture porn gore genre hadn't come out yet. Saw was 6 months from debut, although the 10-minute short that it was based on was released before this film came out, and Hostel was still 2 years away. Yet the final third of this movie navigates brilliantly into what we would now consider to be called torture porn. A captive person, usually a woman, a masked assailant, and a variety of torturous methods applied to the victim before their death, and captured all on videotape too. Perhaps then this movie has more in common with Nicolas Cage's 8mm from 1999. What you get with Abnormal Beauty is indeed a mishmash of horror genres, psychological and torture. I feel there's enough here to satisfy lovers of both styles. While the psychological elements take up more screen time and is beautifully presented with some outstanding camera work, compositions, colouring and framing, the final third is given just as much love, care and attention to detail from director Oxide. And I still don't know how to say his name. The only real disappointment is the reveal of the masked character. If it wasn't for the obligatory flashback so the audience can have their aha moment, I wouldn't have realised who it was. Perhaps an additional scene or two of him stalking Ginny throughout the film would have been suitable to make sure that the ending wasn't an anticlimax. The film's been sitting on my back catalogue for years now. I'm glad I finally sat down to watch it, although I was overall a bit disappointed with the extremely poor quality of the subtitles from ITE. This is machine translated tripe at its worst. It's just terrible to think that someone just grabbed the Chinese subtitles, ran it through a machine translator, and then put it on a paid streaming service that people were going to watch. It's surely there is a better subtitled copy of this movie out there. This is a 21-year-old film made in Hong Kong at a time when all Hong Kong movies were getting English subtitles. So surely there is a much better subtitled version than the shit that I saw. And look, in the end, you're probably saying, well, you shouldn't have watched it legally, Dan. Well, sometimes you just got to support the filmmakers. So using my patent pending ghost rating, which stands for great horror or stupid trash, I give this 4 ghosts. This is a very high rating for such an older film, but I feel that its overall atmosphere that was created here and the way that the story unfolds is excellent. I really enjoyed it. Now, there is some disappointment there with that ending, the slight anticlimax when the main bad guy takes off his mask to reveal who he is and he's sitting there going, wow, that was a little bit inconsequential. And that's where I feel that they could have just added another scene or two to make a bit more of a connection there. But otherwise, look, if you're a film nerd who loves composition, who loves filmography, who loves, filming, not filmography, who loves photography, and all of the kind of world around analog film, then the way that the film's been shot and presented certainly highlights a lot of skill from the person that Oxide Pang has chosen to be his cameraman in the film. And for that alone, sometimes that's just the kind of horror that I want to watch, something that's just presented so beautifully on the screen. And of course, having a name like Abnormal Beauty is something that will get your interest. I am the Artie Dans and you are watching Shockmania. Have you seen Abnormal Beauty from Hong Kong and what did you think of it? A big shout out to the 3 channel members whose names are appearing on the screen right now. You can join our Discord and have a chat with us about anything that you want, as long as it's related to horror movies, obviously. But so if you have an interest in horror, join our Shockmania Discord and chat along with the 20 or so other members who are there, who have a great time sharing their reviews, their recommendations, and their photos of their pets, which I also really enjoy. So thank you so much to everyone being a part of the Shockmania community, and let's do a lot more for 2026. Catch you next time.